You take notes on this because it's not just for you, but it's for your downline and for you to teach to your organization when they get on board. And so definitely get ready to take a lot of notes. We have a lot of stuff to cover in like a 45-minute period. So, but we'll get right into it. But real quick, who here, or who was it? I don't even ask that question actually. My story last night, a lot of you guys heard it last night, with getting involved with Vemma and getting on board and going, bronze my first month, silver my second month, and then going diamond. It was definitely something that had moved fast, but there's a lot of trial and error with what me and Alex did when we first started this. We had no idea, what we were doing, right? With Brad, it was kind of different because the YPR, it didn't exist. The older market with the company was using Tom's roadmap to success, which I'm sure a lot of you know what that is. But we didn't really know, it didn't really relate to our demographic, and so we definitely had kind of a learning curve. And so I'm going to kind of share with you before we get into covering the YPR roadmap and the 8-step process and some mentoring stuff. I'm really going to kind of talk about my kind of journey through Vemma and what really happened with me in this, and just so you can kind of relate, because I know when I first started with talking with Brad, it's kind of overwhelming, right? Hearing from someone who's making all this money and kind of figuring out how to go from point A to point B, right? And that journey along that road. And so kind of hearing, how it happened for myself and for others, it really, and hearing how Brad started and how he got to where he was at today, it really kind of made sense, and I could see, how I could actually build this thing out and make it happen. And so for me, like I said, I was a consumer for 6 months. Had no interest in the business, because like I said, Alex had no idea what he was talking about when he explained it to me. But, ordered product for 6 months and went back home and worked an internship and came back and, ended up joining the company and was pretty excited. When we first started, we didn't really have a whole lot of training. It was a lot of hype, basically built off pure excitement, which was good, but the bad part of it I'll talk about in a minute. So my first month, I made like 20 bucks, which was pretty cool. Second month in the business, made a couple hundred, and third month hit the ring of diamond. And during that period, I thought this thing was about to be on autopilot. Right? I thought it was going to take off, and presidentials next month. And so it was something that we kind of really went through a big learning curve, because what happened was we were building the business completely wrong. Right? It's completely dependent upon me and Alex and what we were doing. And when I first started this, I had really no idea. Public speaking was my biggest fear, first of all. Right? If you're afraid of public speaking, I think a lot of people are. I won't make you raise your hand. But most people in the U.S., I think it's the #1 fear, like over death. It's kind of crazy. But most people don't like public speaking. And so I had to get uncomfortable and get kind of out of that phase to be able to step up as a leader and really work on my story. And I remember Alex kind of passing me his, we do a lot of Skype calls. And, we'd Skype into our team in Hawaii and I'd be like, Alex, here, talk, Alex, talk, Alex, talk. But then finally Alex was like, no, you talk. And the first call, it was horrible, terrible. It was definitely a big learning curve through that, and just kind of doing it with repetition, and the more I did it, the better I got. But the issue we had was when I went diamond, we didn't train anyone. It was like I got really good at talking to people, but I was doing a lot of one-on-ones. So like you'd have your friend come talk to me, I talk to them, and they get on board, right? And we weren't doing a lot of theory calls, a lot of group Skypes or anything like that. So there was no duplication happening, right? There's no one learning by listening, which if you were here last night, like the opportunity part in any event, it's not just for the prospect, but it's for you, right? To really learn the story, really understand what's happening with it. And that was the issue we had, and that's why over winter break in December, it was like my fourth month in the company, I lost half my business. I went from cycling like 42 times to cycling like 21 times. And that was kind of a real kind of wake-up call. At first I wanted to blame Vemma and the system and that, maybe this thing wasn't going to work. But it wasn't the system, it was how I was building the business. And it was really a reflection of myself, in that I wasn't bringing up the next person. I wasn't teaching people what to do when they got on board. Right? I wasn't developing leaders. And leadership development is a huge part of this company. We're going to go into depth with that in a little bit. But also teaching to teach. And that was kind of my point earlier. With the notes you take today, this is for you to go out and teach to your organization and teach to the newest person when they get on board, and really instill that within your group. And so, we had this whole kind of YPR roadmap come into effect this one was September, I think all the YPR ambassadors met up in San Diego and kind of came together. We talked about what was working across the board and kind of came together and made something that was congruent with the current roadmap. And this YPR roadmap, it's definitely something that it's very simple. It's something that you want to kind of make part of the enrollment process, where you're kind of teaching them just these quick 8 steps when they first get on board and really helping them get going on the right foot. Because, when someone gets on board, that support and knowing what to do and most importantly knowing what not to do, right, is really the key and the foundation when getting started. So, we kind of have an 8-step process that it's 8 simple steps. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly and just kind of give a little example within each step and really kind of help you understand that this is something that you want to instill within your organization. It works. We've learned this from Tom, from Brad, from people who are making significant incomes within this industry who've been in it for much longer than I have. And it's something that I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you haven't implemented this within your organization, you definitely should. Also, YPR, roadmaptosuccess.com. It's the training website where it has this outline I'm going to go over on there. It's also going to be, there's some great videos and resources on there. It's still, is it finished? It's under development a little bit. So it's still being built, but it's there. The content's on there. We're coming out with an app version of this training also, where the newest person, when they get on board, they can download that app after they get the Vemma app. You have the training there. They can go through the 8 steps, watch a few videos with some of the top leaders, explaining that, giving a quick overview, and getting them going right away. So it's going to be really key for duplication, because duplication is everything. If you haven't read GoPro by Eric Worre, okay, he says in that book, if it's not duplicatable, it's not worthwhile, right? And that's what we're trying to shift with this whole YPR thing, is that my business was completely sponsor driven, right? If I wasn't working, it wasn't growing. And so shifting it to, it's not dependent upon the sponsor or the people, it's dependent upon the system in place where newest person can come on board, they take these resources and implement it and run with it. So getting into the YPR roadmap, step 1, your why. Okay, I talked about this in my story yesterday. Your why is everything. Not even with Vemma, but in life. Okay, if you don't have a reason, you're not gonna, it's what motivates you to be successful at whatever it is you're doing. That's what Grady was talking about. Have a powerful why. If you want to make money with this company, that's great, but why do you want to make money? Right? What's getting you out of bed in the morning? And I highly recommend, we can take some time or tonight, go write that down and share it with your upline and share it with your downline and really have people hold you accountable to that why. And the more you share that, the more people see it and they really kind of understand, what your vision is with this business and why you're actually doing this. And it's something that at every presentation, I share my why. Right? And I think when inviting people, I share my why. Right? You tell people why they're doing this, you're going to build an emotional connection with them, and they're going to want to come hear about it or even be a part of it. So identifying that why. Step 2, your attitude. Okay, your mindset coming to this company is the biggest thing. Right? Like Grady said, or like Peter was saying, who hasn't had someone tell them no? Right? Everyone's had someone tell them no about this opportunity. Brad's had more people tell him no than anyone in this room. Right? And the reason that he's still continuing with this is his mindset and his attitude going forward. Because you look at the people who are having success within Vemma, within this company, they all face adversity. Right? Everyone's faced an obstacle or challenge, and there's that mindset, that tunnel vision, that goal, that vision that they had with this that got them to overcome that. And it's the people who can overcome those obstacles that have success, because most people quit. Right? As soon as they face some adversity, they quit. And having that winner's mentality, that no matter what, you're going to be successful, then you will be. And there's not one person making 6 figures within this company that thought at one point that this might not work for them. Right? I guarantee it. Myself, Alex, when I lost half my business over winter break, I was like, maybe it's not for me. Right? And so, understanding that you're not special, right? You're facing the same challenges that everyone's facing. And understanding that everyone has these similar things, and if you can overcome these things and really just keep on pushing through, and if you fail, it's not a failure, it's a learning experience, right? It's overcoming those failures, learning from your mistakes, and continuing going. That's why I'm the leader I am today, right? That's why Brad's the way he is today. It's not because he just was this awesome leader. Okay, Brad failed, and through those failures, he learned success. Right? And that's the attitude you have to have coming into this company. And so, step 2, your attitude. It's really important. Just get on some personal development, right? If you haven't read, there's a ton of books out there. Think and Grow Rich. The Compound Effect is actually one of my favorite books also. Business of the 21st Century. Great books out there. Talk to your upline, talk to people in the business who are having success. Ask them what book they're reading. Okay? It'll help you with your mindset, and it'll help you really get that attitude and that mindset going in the right way. But step 3, this is kind of the first thing you actually physically do is your list. Tom Alcazan said that this is the most important thing to have on you at all times is your list. And I think physically writing out a list is really important, right? Going through your Facebook, your phone book, your connections, right? Who do you know who wants to make money? Who do you know who's interested in health products? Who do you know who will support you at whatever it is that you're doing, right? And really think about the networks and the people you know and write them out, right? And then from there, we're going to talk about introducing people with the product and inviting with the opportunity. But your list, it's always growing, right? I've had so many people come up to me and say they've talked to their whole network, right? Like I've talked to everyone. There's no one left. Okay, it's not true, right? How many billion people, Grady? 2.9, right? Your list is growing. Go out and connect with people, network, meet people, and was it J.D. Phillips or who was one who came home every day, Brad? With a phone number? J.D. Phillips will come home every single day with a phone number from someone. He was just continuing to network and meet people and build his network out and building that list out. And you're going through that list one by one, right? I've only personally enrolled about 40 people over the past 2.5 years, and that's not a lot. I know I have people in my downline who've enrolled more people than me, right? But understanding that the number of people I've talked to is a lot more than that, okay? And it's a numbers game of, you're going to go through that list. It's a sorting process to find people who see it and finding people who don't see it, right? And when people say no doesn't mean never, right? If they say no to this, don't bad talk them, don't throw them under the bus, don't do anything. Because they just might not see it right now. The timing is really key. And the worst thing you can do is start talking bad about them, and then eventually there might be a time where they want to do this, but they're not going to. Right, because of the way that you handled yourself with this. And so, keeping that list growing and understanding that, having it with you at all times, and you're kind of making your way through that list. And there's kind of 2 ways we approach people. Number 1 is we're leading with the product, okay? And, that means, really approaching people to be consumers, which obviously when you're first starting this thing out here in Australia, there's probably a lot more affiliates than consumers. But our goal is to get a lot more consumers. If you look at Vemma as a whole, majority of people buying Vemma's products monthly are consumers. I think it's like 80% are just consumers, not affiliates pursuing the opportunity. Consumers are the backbone to this business. It's how the whole company was built before the YPR even started. It is primarily consumer driven because the products are great, right? Educate yourself on the products so you can go out and actually talk to people about it and tell people why ours is better. And then from there, you can approach people, and it's really simple. There's no risk in being a consumer. You have a 30-day empty bottle money-back guarantee, right? So when you're talking to people about this product, okay, you're approaching your friends or your family like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. You should check it out. You're already drinking this. Buy this instead. Support me with it. You decide if you don't like it, you can call, get your money back. Super simple, right? Talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Talk to your relatives. People who you know will support your life. People who you know are extremely health conscious, and lead with this product. It's very simple. The product is great. Let them try it. Okay, if they drink Vemma for a month, they're going to keep drinking it. Right? I've never had one consumer that I brought on board return their product. And so understanding that this product is great, and I think it's something that, especially with you, the YPR out there, it's something that we haven't even touched. Right? So many young people aren't even talking to their relatives or aunts, parents, whoever, about these products. And becoming a consumer, like myself, when I first started, it can turn into you becoming an affiliate and pursuing the opportunity. Right? So you don't know what can happen with getting someone on this product. And imagine everyone in your downline hitting customer loyalty. Customer loyalty, if you don't know what that is, that's 3 or more people ordering 3 times your product to eat your product for free as consumers. Okay, so you think about that. If you have each person, instead of just them being worth 2 cases, right? Because they're doing the business, they're worth 8 cases because of the consumers they brought on board, right? Then you can, it's growing that volume, it's growing that worth, and it's really helping people get on board and actually sticking with it. Because if you have an affiliate getting their product for free every single month, they're never going to quit. right? Customers are the backbone. It's such a key part of this business. Do not overlook consumers with this opportunity. It's simple, it's easy, get creative with it, and go find consumers for this, okay? From there, leading with the opportunity, Grady touched on it a little bit on talking to people about this thing. Everyone kind of has their own, I guess, way of going about this and how they talk to people, but I think that's really important, right? I think it's really important to be you with this opportunity. There's no set script on how to talk to someone about this, right? Because as soon as you do that, you sound like a robot. You're talking to your friends and people who know you, right? They're not going to want to hear it from you if you're sounding like kind of weird, right? And so being you, being real, and just talking to people and creating conversation is a way that I've found that works extremely effective for inviting people. But real quick, we're going to take 1 second, and with the person next to you, I just want you guys to take 2 minutes and invite them to come hear about the Vemma opportunity.